Yes, good day, class. Today we are going to see the part 2 of TCS241, Introduction to Music. I still remain LUBASA SIKU for Lulu. Contents, we are going to see the rudiments of music, music notations, voice training, rhythmic organization, practicals, and compositions. So here, after seeing the rudiments of music, we are going to have practical sessions in between. Thank you. Rudiments of music. Rudiments are necessary basics to the knowledge of the theory of music and useful in practical sight reading of musical notes on the staff or stave. These rudiments include musical notes and sound, rhythm, timing and duration of notes, accidentals, building of chords, intervals between notes, and dynamics. Rudiments of music are fundamental to creating melodies and block of extension of chords, which are harmonies. It is important for the student and performing artist to understand the transition between the reading of notes and playing of the instrument or vocals by interpreting and analyzing the musical sounds, pitch, notes, musical terms, and signs before playing any music piece, because it's inevitable in theater art for one not to perform without music. There must be music during performance. With the knowledge of the rudiments of music, one will be able to create the music piece and songs and communicate to the public and give them what he or she mean or his or her idea. Now, in this the second slide, we are talking of the staff or stave. The American call it staff, and the English call it stave. So there are some places you might see staff or stave. All are the same thing. What is a staff or a stave? A staff is a series of 5 parallel horizontal lines having 4 spaces in between on which musical notes or notations are written. It is on this stave clefs are written and notes. Which stave position represents which note is determined by the clef placed at the beginning of the staff. The clef identifies a particular line as a specific note, and all other notes are determined relative to that line. For example, the treble clef puts the G above middle C on the second line. This is an example of a staff. We have 5 lines and we have 4 spaces. Clef signature. To relate stave to the pitch of notes accurately, a sign called a clef is used to fix the position of a certain letter name on it. 2 clefs are commonly used, one for the high note, which is the G or treble clef, while the other is F or bass clef. These clefs are signs written on or indicated on the stave at the beginning of a piece of music to show the type of stave or staff. And while talking of notations, there's what we call musical alphabet. That is inevitable. We must use the musical alphabet, which we use the first 7 letters of the English alphabet. It includes A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Each line and each space on the stave represents a different letter and a different pitch. Here we have the treble stave and the treble, the sign of G. The treble clef is also known as the G clef because it indicates that the second line from the bottom will be G. Notice how the clef makes a cycle centered on the second line. This is also the clef, the G clef, the G notes, and this is the note on them. The next slide shows the notes on them. You see, we have the D, we have the E, we have the F, we have the G, and so on. The next one we have is the bass clef. The bass clef is fixed on the 4th line as the note F. You should note the position of the 2 dots on each side of the F line. That is the 4th line. We have 2 dots that are positioned on the 3rd and the 4th space. The bass clef starts on the 4th line and ends on the 2nd line with 2 dots. And we also have sample of bass clef with the notations, the notes on them. We have the lines that are there with their notes, and we have the spaces that also have notes on them. Then what is the grand stave? The grand stave or great staff have to do with 2 staves that are joined by a brace. You can see a line by the sign, that is the brace. Or it is intended to be played at once by a single performer using either keyboard or harp. A grand staff, according to Americans, or great stave, according to British English, is created. Typically, the upper staff uses a treble clef and the lower staff has the bass clef. In this instance, middle C is centered between the 2 staves and it can be written on the first ledger line below the upper staff of the first ledger line above the lower staff. That is in the middle. Very rarely a centered line with a small c clef is written. That is, you are going to write like a SIKU, then bar it, use a line to draw across the letter, the SIKU. So this is the grand stave, and the next slide shows us the grand stave with notes on them. We have the treble and the bass clef on them. During the course of our lectures, we'll be having practicals, physical lectures that have to do with practicals. That's when will go deep and know those notations and how to fix them using a board and a whiteboard and a marker. Yes, as I was saying, we are going to be having physical and virtual meetings on this part 2, and but mostly we are going to be having physical meetings. So for this part 2, I'm going to give the assignments, which reads: number 1, why is rudiments of music important? Number 2, draw the treble stave. Number 3, draw the bass stave and each music note appropriately. Then number 4 is going to be that everybody will draw the ground stave and indicate the music notes, that is the alphabet on the stave. The alphabet, you should note that we have the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Thank you for listening. All the notes is going to be there. Then, sorry, there's a mistake here. I'm going to go to the back.